Meeting of BGPOA's Board of Directors and Patrick Cannell, President of the Board. We have, I hope, a pretty swift agenda today. But with that, why don't we get started and we'll do the pledge first.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, label.
The period is strong.
Hello again, everybody, and Happy New Year. Chris, will you call the roll? Patrick, here. Alana.
Here.
Earl. Dan. Here. Tom. Here. Leslie.
Here.
Joel. Here. Beverly.
Here.
Alex. Here. Zach. Here. We have a four. Excellent. First item on our agenda is approval of our December 15, 2024 regular meeting minutes. Can I get a motion if there are no questions?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Hearing none, that motion passes. All right. We're going to open it up for member or homeowner comments and questions. The reason we're doing this now at the beginning of our meeting as opposed to the end is just so that board members can have folks' collective thoughts as we go into talk about the issues that are on our agenda today. So if anybody, I see Donna Bullock already has her hand raised. We have one member with us in the room. So Donna, why don't you go ahead and start?
Hi, thanks. First, I wanted to say that December event with the gingerbread houses, I thought was really successful and nice for the community. It was intergenerational. There were children, adults. So I hope we replicate that. It was a very nice event. The second thing I wanted to say is I was concerned about this idea of doing in-home security. I really like having Carl, Blair, and that group there. They're really professional. I really feel I've observed, yes, we have cameras. When I walk into the pool or the gym, if someone's right behind me, it's really hard to shut the door in their face. And it's really much better when someone is there saying, let me see your identification. You can't really put the onus on individual members. What I do take umbrage with is the young people who are, I don't know what the nomenclature are, who sit by the pool. They're pleasant, but either they're inside by that door. I don't know what that does for us, or sitting outside glued to their phone. So if any changes need to be made, somehow that personnel has to be rectified. Maybe we could save money doing it in-house, but there are a lot of other ways to save money. And on that kind of security, I don't think that's the way to save money. I feel strongly about that. And I feel other homeowners agree with me. Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Anybody else have comments, questions? Feel free to use the raise hand feature. Anybody in the room? Nope. All right, seeing none, we're gonna. Oh, Lee, are you?
She raises her hand.
Yep. Okay, Lee's got her hand raised. You got a good thing you're on camera, Lee. They just got unmute.
Yeah, she's hitting it and it's not.
Okay.
There
Okay. Can you hear me?
Now we can, yeah.
You can't.
We can.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I just want to comment on Donna's comment that I agree with her about not getting rid of the security. I just want to add another voice to that.
Great.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Lee.
Sorry, I can't get I'm on my phone. I can't get the hand raise feature to go. So this is Dana Herm. Is there anybody that wanted to speak before me that had their hand raised?
No, you're good to go. Well,
Okay.
Anita, you're good to go. Dana, you go, and then Anita.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
So I'm going to agree to disagree with the previous comments. Every time I am, and I'm just going to use the gym now for this purpose, but every time I'm there, security is not there. So, if what Donna was saying was that she feels safer, but if they're not there, then it's a moot point. And it seems like every time I'm there, excuse me, they're not. And it's probably like a scheduling thing. But if that's a scheduling thing, then only certain members are getting that service and others aren't. I think what you guys have done, I know that they didn't renew their contract, and I think what you guys are doing with not, having security there, I think is the best way to proceed in saving us money. In terms of the kids at the pool, they're pool attendants, they're not lifeguards, and I think they're doing a great job just keeping an eye on everything. And if there is an issue, I'm sure that there's a protocol in place for them to either call the office or call 911. I'm pretty certain that security's parameters, God forbid something were to happen, are probably the same as the pool attendants. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I just want to say that I think that the way that we're proceeding with security, I'm on board for. Thank you.
Thanks, Dana. Appreciate that. Where did you go? Okay, Anita, you're next, and then I see Marcy also has her hand up. So Anita, you can unmute.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Well, I agree with Donna. And the fact is that, we play cards in the card room at night. And when we feel very safe because security is there, they're constantly walking in and out, and they stay until we leave. They watch us leave at 10 or a little after 10 at night. And it's very comforting. Now, I don't know if you're going to have in-house security. Are they going to be there? Are they going to do all this? So and I do agree with Donna. Thank you.
Thank you. And Marcy.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
So it's hard to know, what our preferences are without having a lot more information as to who the people are, if they're in-house, what their hours will be, what, kinds of payment, how will that, measure up against what we've been paying the security firm. I certainly think we need reliable security. We need someone that we can report things to who will take some action. And then I disagree with Dana about the pool people. The young people I have found to be not helpful in any way. I have reported to them quite a few occasions. Young kids, but diaper age kids for sure, little tiny ones going into the main pool. I hate to be the pool police. I've gently and kindly spoken with parents, and some are receptive, some are not. But when I brought it to the attention of the pool attendant, they basically said, "Oh, I can't go there. I can't say that." Even though I pointed out that it is posted, it is on a sign, it is public health, it is really critical, and please do say something. They haven't, they won't, they don't. So I just don't find them to have really any value at all at the pool. So that's it. And I think it would be helpful if we heard what the plan is and then had an opportunity to voice our opinions based on what's proposed. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcy. Anybody else? All right. Thank you all. And one last call for in the room. No. Okay. All right. I will say that we are going to discuss the boards and management's sort of current concept of what a potential replacement for the security firm would look like today in our meeting in more detail. And I would also point out that the pool, if any issues about the pool attendants, that's really a separate bucket and something you can deal with through management. And we have a pool committee. We have a few months to get sorted out with that, but, that I think is something totally different. Yes, Dan?
If homeowners have concerns regarding performance of anybody, I would strongly suggest they always report that to the office.
Excellent point. Thank you, Dan. Okay, with that, we're gonna move on in our agenda, folks. Again, I'm doing my damnedest to make this a swift meeting. We're gonna go to the management report. And before we talk about the Sector 1 non-renewal, Michael, do you have anything else, any other updates for the board?
No, just for the update for the board, we have going through our list of non-payers. Liens have been printed. As soon as I review them later this week in our meeting, we'll probably be filing them, I'm assuming. Also, we've now that we have a dedicated maintenance person, we've started doing the cleanup this weekend or this coming week. They'll be repainting the bathrooms in the clubhouse, getting that all cleaned up. Touch-up areas in all the new buildings that has started. Just everything's moving along.
Okay. I will say on the point about the liens, the board has, well, we're really just using our board-only budget committee, our operating budget committee, to start to attack our AR problem, which is gigantic in my view. And so we're segregating out sort of the biggest problem accounts, if you will, and figuring out, while we have liens, which are the ones where we may need to take the next step. Obviously, we'll have that discussion in executive session and with our council, but I want the community to know that the board's just not sitting around on that. We are trying to actively attack that problem, and whether it's through collections or legal actions or whatever we got to do to either collect the money or figure out where it's bad debt and get it written off. Just need to sort of get all of that off our folks. Okay. All right. Any questions for Michael? Board members? Go ahead.
Michael, we have windows that are broke on the track, and then they want to get those fixed. The order.
That was part of the previous contractors.
Right.
I can get prices.
Yeah, he's back.
We can discuss that in executive session. Okay, but yes, the answer to your point, yes, we can get that to you. I'll get a couple of glass companies in too.
And then in the women's bathroom, somebody told me the mirror is cracked on the top. I would need to get that replaced, put a frame around it or something. So I don't know, I put it in the women's bathroom.
Well, that's here or at the pool? Yeah, that's just a little chip that's out of the corner of the.
They just put a frame around it.
Yeah, Dan.
I know some time ago we talked about no hot water in the,
Shower period.
Yeah.
has there been any updates on that? Are we interested in
I
getting
did
that?
get a bid from C.R. Wolf. I'll have to get that from Anthony Freeman. He has that. And then we could
Cool.
look at that and see what has to be done with that one.
Would you want to do an instant hot in there if we do something?
I don't think I don't know. I'm not the HVAC guy. That's for a shower. I don't know exactly how they work that well for the shower.
For their whole house, so it's just better. So we don't have to make.
Once again, I look into it, but I'm not the professional
Okay.
there. I'll get.
We'll follow up with it. Right. Anything else for Michael? All right.
So will we be taking each floor too, or you do these? And Little Anthony be taking the floor too in the chamber, that's separate.
No, we agreed last month, I think it was here to have him touch that up. The weather hasn't been conducive because it's been real cold, colder than normal in there, so.
Okay. Let's go on to the Sector 1 issue. So we've sent out a community-wide notification, and all board members are aware as well. In late December, Sector 1 notified us they could not agree to the terms as we were discussing them at that point. Won't get into specifics, but nevertheless, they made the determination that they just can't proceed under that. So they're non-renewing. We had already been talking about as a board in terms of our own sort of realignment of staff and responsibilities, what it might look like if we were to bring some of those functions in-house, especially given that when we renovated this building and the pool house building, we have other security measures that are in place between the cameras and fences and all that sort of stuff. And the lights will be getting taken care of in the parking lot here to the extent they're not already. But so it was just conceptual at that point, but now it's more front burner for us. And so the board had a workshop, our normal workshop in this week, and the focus was this security role, if we call it security or not. And so board members have three is a document that we'll consider later in executive session because it does discuss some personnel issues. But I just wanted to make sure everybody has an update on that and see if there are any questions from the board members, keeping in mind that we'll attack this a little bit more in our executive session as well. No? Okay.
Just I do think that just to summarize some of the things that we discussed as in the workshop on Tuesday, one of the things we talked about was potentially chunking out the problem to tackle kind of our current security needs in the off season, and then to address more comprehensively what staffing might look like for the pool during the summer season. And one of the options we've talked about is making a part-time hire for hours in off hours when the office is closed, including evenings and weekends, which I think address some of the concerns that members brought up. And those responsibilities that the person would have, would be primarily a maintenance person, but they would have responsibilities that, with work table position would include things like monitoring security cameras, checking member IDs, and generally kind of patrolling the grounds to ensure that the grounds are secure. So that's kind of what emerged as one of the points of discussion during the board's workshop.
Yeah, I unfortunately was not there, so thanks for that readout, Chris. And I don't know if anybody else who was there had further thoughts on that. I will say, throughout this process, even when we started to think about potentially rethinking how our security is delivered, we've discussed it with our insurance broker because we want to make sure there are no insurance impacts to us, that we're not going to get a nasty little surprise when we get a renew. And we're assured that it will have no effect whatsoever if we were to do even the most drastic thing and say just no security whatsoever, because we have adequate enough security measures in place. Our insurer is very satisfied with that. So that is some relief, and that doesn't address what members may want in service, but I just wanted to point out from an insurance perspective, we're not harming ourselves by taking this move.
I think it's also important to understand that when you're doing this, you're just doing it based off of a contract for security. And that sources only operate on one specific contract, one duty. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get more for our dollar with encompassing possible more job duties that need to happen around the facility. So that's part of the mix that we should make sure that.
That's a great point. That's a good framing about why this really came about in the first place and how we're looking at that issue.
I think the solution would actually represent an added service for members, not any drop off in the service, at least as we're kind of resolving the immediate problem of the off season.
Yeah.
So we certainly hear members' comments and certainly think the solution we have in mind will substantively address those concerns.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on this point?
Yeah. In the job description, it says working position.
You know what? Why don't we have that discussion in a little while?
No problem.
Any other general points just on the update itself? Okay. With that, we're going to go on to the next item, our financial review. Board members, I believe Joel emailed around. Hopefully everybody had a chance to see the financials. They're not at tab 2 of the book. Sorry about that. Joel, if you want to give us a quick summary.
Basically, we did okay. We wound up with an NOI of 167. We wound up with additional cash, about somewhere between $90,000. We wound up having at one of our workshops what we decided to do with the excess cash, and also what we need to do as far as the money that we've saved, that we put aside from the violations and things like that. Relating to the golf course, we originally set up a $25,000 reserve. We spent the money on the fencing and the cameras, and there's a small balance, I think $1,900 left over. So if it's okay with the board, I'd like to take that $1,900 and offset the cost. We spent about 10 grand mowing the golf course and things like that. It looks like that'll just clear that whole thing out. So if I can get an opinion on that, I would greatly appreciate it. And also, I apologize for getting everything out so late. If you've got any questions at all, please call me during the week. I'll readily discuss everything with you with detail.
Where do you want to move that $1,900?
I want to move to was in the equipment rental area, because that's where the money went that we rented the
brush hog.
The brush hog and
Tractor.
the tractor. So we just reduced that expense. That's so we're not talking about a lot of money. It's just a matter of just cleaning the books up.
I don't know if that's really worth the time of trying to, but I mean, if you want to do it, sure.
Yeah, it's not
It's just,
it's,
I guess my only question is, does that leave us then without capital funds to maneuver if there's anything additional we wanted to do? I guess that we've already done.
yeah, not that much. It's like $100.
Yeah.
You've already done what you've done.
Yeah, but that included, that $25,000, right? Included with the cameras and so forth, correct?
And the fence.
And the fence.
Yeah.
So what if a camera goes down and do we have warranty?
it's maintenance.
We pay it regularly.
So we get a new one?
If a camera goes down, I'm assuming there's a warranty, but if there's not a warranty, these cameras are not a lot of money.
But that's what I'm saying. Why don't you just leave the money there just in case of something like that
Leslie, I would
happens?
say, just
Too small.
I think that I would distinguish between the golf course money as capital funds versus now that we've purchased the cameras, any kind of replacement or kind of plan would be an ongoing operating expense. So we would I would think it'd be more appropriate to draw it out of an operating fund, like maintenance, or out of our existing security budget, if we have plenty of money.
Right.
But that's kind of why you would probably not move the $1,900 to begin with, because maintaining the property. To me, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just, I don't know if it's really worth the time, but that's fine.
So that's it. It's small money. It just clears off an item, although it's gonna be hanging out. It's not gonna do, you can't do much with $1,900 today.
It only helps make the budget look a little better.
Joel, do you want to make the motion?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to move the balance that's sitting in the Deferred Golf Association's account to the leasing account. Everybody's got to pull it up, get the exact number if you want. I'm just taking a minute, but that's basically, you're not talking about one month.
Okay, is there a second?
So second, then it's not.
All right. All right, let's move on. Other questions for Joel on the financials? Okay. Hearing none, I just want to give a quick update on our insurance renewal, which continues apace. We're due for renewal at the end of February. As I reported last month, Joel and I had an initial call with our brokers that went pretty well. We're attacking our insurance renewal by trying to close out a couple of claims that keep showing up on our loss runs that shouldn't, and that's being taken care of. We are due to meet again with our broker in a couple of weeks, but in the meantime, got good news that I want to report, which is that, well, we don't have our general liability and our umbrella quotes yet. Those are big pieces of our insurance program. All the other quotes have been received. There was a very slight increase, I think around 4% they're looking at in the property, but that's related to property values, but everything else is pretty much flat. So fingers crossed, but
Comp
GL,
as well.
sorry?
Comp as well.
I believe so. I haven't seen the actual proposals, just to sort of read out on what they're saying. But, just wanted to give everybody both an update that we're still working on it, but also that, you know, at least there's some good news within the package. Again, the GL is not quoted yet, and that's our big chunk. Okay. Really quickly before I forget, board members, at last month's meeting, we adopted a bunch of corporate governance documents, including our conflict of interest policy. The conflict of interest policy has attached to it a form. Some of you have returned it, thank you. Others have not. I'm just reminding board members to please go back and look at that. I can resend the email if need be. Just need you to sign the, and management members as well, sign the conflict of interest form, but also the policy, but also importantly, return the annual disclosure form. Those are required by the New York not-for-profit corporation law. So we really do need to get those back from people. We need to collect them. We need to have them in our corporate records. Okay. I'll send around a reminder on that. All right. Moving on to the water company. Unfortunately, Alan emailed me. He will not be able to join us. And I don't believe any of the other water company. Well, you guys were here, but
Yeah, I didn't meet Thursday, but they did a review. Were you there Thursday? We're not gonna.
Next, we'll have something to report next time.
yeah, and Alan gave me just a couple of quick points, which is one that the PSC is scheduling an exit interview, whatever in the world that means. But that means that the rate case is coming to a close. And the board and water company are discussing more about their employment realignment and normal issues. So nothing more to report beyond that. Michael, unless you have anything to add to that, we'll move on. Okay. On to our committees. Joel, Lakes and Pool, you said had no meeting?
We did have a meeting, and did get some paperwork, we're doing the CSLAP program again. So there's a waiver that if you want to be involved with doing the testing work that you have to sign. So you need that to be dropped off with the office. So. Like, were you able to get the contract from the guy that's the geese collecting guy? Were you able to do that or not? I mean, actually, if you really, if you want to do
The proposal from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
I thought you were taking, I misunderstood that email.
It's just copy of it.
If you just need some basic information from the management side, and I think just an email from Michael that, yes, you can send us a proposal. We're just getting a proposal for it. Nobody's going out and rounding up any geese yet.
I know we spoke about it. But
Yeah.
it was very.
We'll have more detail on that and some points to propose to the board once we get that.
I should have the egg addling information that should be coming in pretty quick. So once I get that, I'll send that to you.
I think if we did each one, probably, because I know that there's
Two different things, how they work.
No, I understand, but I think they got it, doing us much good, where I think for other communities, they've done this geese roundup, and it's made it major, so we might want to think about saving the money for the geese after the add-on, and just put it for the geese roundup.
Once I get it, I'll give it to the Lakes Committee, they can make a decision.
Okay, and just Joel used an acronym earlier. I want to talk about CSLAP, is a citizens monitoring and reporting program for our waterways and lakes that's run. Training is given by the state. It's really run by the volunteers. So thanks again to all those folks who do volunteer and are part of that program.
If anybody else wants to join, just give me a shout, we'll get you hooked up with Mark.
Yeah,
I know Rich Brown was a big pioneer for this one.
Yep.
yeah, and I think saw Rich on earlier. There he is. So yeah, there he is. Okay. Bylaws, no meeting, really nothing going on in that regard. I don't believe Earl's here to report out on oversight. I can tell you the Strategic Planning and Finance Committee, we will be, we're gonna try to plan one for this month now that, just to get ahead of when the weather starts to break in spring. Still looking for volunteers to help with the building code revamp. So if you are an architect or a builder or just have knowledge and interest in that area, let me know. And you can go through Brittany or Michael as well, get you connected up. All right, events and welcoming, any update?
No immediate update. Donna, thank you for the shout out at the beginning of the meeting. And as always, thank you to all our volunteers that help make these types of events possible. We did put out a bid request through the office for the fireworks. So that's kind of going to see how that bid comes through, determine if that will be on our roster for next year, and look out for an email for our next upcoming meeting this month.
All right.
Yeah, well, the lakes, I have good news. The water level in Treasure Lake has severely increased. So it's probably about 90 to 95%. So with the spring rains and stuff, I think the lake will be back up to where it was. So
That is really great news. That's really great to hear. Okay, where are we? Our next regular meeting is going to be February 9th. Yes, it's a little earlier in February. It's 4 weeks away, but we have that ski week, President's Day. We're right smack in the middle of February. So I think some folks may be gone, and I will. And so we'll be meeting a little earlier, and then we'll be back to kind of the more regular third Sunday of the month when we get to March.
Just for that, just to put on your radar, I don't know if the financials will be ready for that. That's kind of quick that month. So they may not be ready in time for your meeting, so.
Sure, and look, we'll work through that. We can circulate them around afterward. And I missed a point earlier. I mean, I don't know if folks have had enough time to visit with this month's financials. We didn't approve them for posting yet. Is that something we want to do, or do you guys want to just maybe do it next month?
Still have, it's the end of the year, so you still may have a few things coming. I would recommend wait until the next month.
Okay. All right, just acknowledging Fran's comment and Rich's in the chat. For those who can see it, Fran says that the pool and sports facility should have hired security. Car driving the streets is not so urgent. Neighbors should watch and report each other. And Rich says, just discover the captions option at the bottom of the screen if you're having difficulty trying to hear. Rich and Fran, I see your hands up, but we did the member comments earlier and want to move on to the next portion of our meeting, which is the executive session for the board members. So can I get a motion to move us to executive session? A motion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? People's abstentions, hearing none. All right, folks, that's the end.